Uh, Good evening, and well, as some of you may know, um, regarding any discussion on Super Smash Bros. Ultimate here, I can't exactly do any recording of me doing gameplay like I used to. So, turning these kinds of videos into what you might call actual discussion. So what I was doing was just looking around for any possible any possible kind of info, because I heard that supposedly Bandai Namco might have deconfirmed Crash Bandicoot for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate paid DLC. And while I went looking around to see if I could find anything, I ended up finding this very fascinating article from GameFAQs, of all places. I say GameFAQs of all places because, as we know, this is where leaker Vergibin had surfaced. So it looks like what I'm going to be discussing this time around is the article that is titled, "Why Are So Many People So Sure About Crash Getting In?" So it appears that this started about a week ago by user Saturn Snowman, and it looks as though, and this is how he started the art. This is how he started the post here. I have seen no hard evidence this is the case, and believe Sakurai could also very well choose Ryu Hayabusa, Doomslayer, Dante, Raymond, Lloyd, or maybe even Eggman, and that's assuming we are getting more third parties. If we're getting another first party, it'll likely be another Pokemon rep, Impa from Zelda, or finally Waluigi. My point being that there are a lot of other characters Sakurai could choose instead. Crash doesn't have this magical thing where he's definitely getting picked. He's just a fan-requested choice, like the rest. Now, something like this is definitely what I've been trying to tell a lot of people on YouTube, and in some cases, my aggressiveness has basically been to no avail, and a bunch of other shit and stuff like that. But it is true that I have been insisting that no character is a definite guarantee. I've been saying stuff like the odds are 50-50, and this being because, well, with the contents already chosen ahead of time, either so-and-so was picked or it wasn't. And this definitely applies to Crash. So if we scroll down, we get some of the typical responses, like I don't know, they actually make some typical replies and stuff. They're saying, why they think Crash is relevant and all that kind of stuff. Now I come to this particular reply. Nothing too big just yet, but this reply from Omnial Falmega. The usual Smash community bias and nostalgia. Yeah, this reply does seem to have quite a bit of merit. I mean, because, yeah, it has been, let's be honest, it has been because of bias that some people have been leaning towards certain characters and all that kind of stuff, and this happens as a result of some fake leaks pointing them out, and Crash is definitely no exception. But there have been others. So this would apply to, well, some of the characters that Saturn Snowman pointed out, and it does seem to be kind of set that it looks like these last two Challenger Packs will be the last in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate paid DLC. Now, I also responded by questioning myself if fans would take advantage of the situation, even if Crash does make it into Smash Ultimate? I answered my own question with I don't know. But after reading some of these comments from Meeple article here from GameFAQs, I'm starting to think that maybe fans will, in fact, take advantage. Or at least some of them will. And I think there's been stuff to back that up too, maybe. Anyways, I'm going to go on with reading. So the first of these comments is as follows. Crash is just a victim of the usual Smash speculation scene. It's been pointed out before, but it goes something like this. Note the order is just kind of random, doesn't need to follow these events precisely. People really want a character in the game. The character was really popular at least at one point in time, if not contemporarily so. Ergo suddenly seems like an incredibly valid idea. Something gets the character on the radar, be it a vocal fan base, some notable fake, leak, etc., which starts to drive discussion. Something also happens in the modern times to make people prove the character is valid, like in Crash's case the Insane Trilogy. Other things factor in, but people tend to highly simplify the situation and suddenly believe the character has a chance. Here, let's look at the latest casualty in Monster Hunter. Now, disregarding everything about the why it didn't happen, let's look at why suddenly people just assumed he was a definite shoo-in, despite how there were no actual hints to this idea. Rathalos was already in the game, playing double duty. This idea that a franchise can get some kind of notable presence in Smash without a playable character is not unprecedented in Smash and not unique to Rathalos. What is unique to Rathalos is the double duty part, admittedly, but I don't think that's, in a way, relevant to this discussion. Somehow, this translated to, they must have talked them into using the Hunter for DLC, which makes just as much sense as the alternative of, they talked about representing the series and agreed Rathalos was the best direction to go. Again, I am not saying that's why the Hunter didn't get in. I'm saying the conclusions being drawn for the positives were no more valid than the other way around. That's a key thing people need to keep reminding themselves about a character's chances. Is there an alternative situation that is at least as valid that actually suggests the opposite of your point? If the answer is yes, then your point is null and void, and thus not even worth doing. Monster Hunter Rise coming to Switch exclusively. Self-explanatory why people just went, the Hunter is coming, based off this, even though similar cases haven't led to character inclusions. Yes, I know PC version was confirmed, but the Switch exclusive was the point used in the Hunter's favor, so keeping this here. Monster Hunter is a massive franchise. Again, similar to the above, self-explanatory how it leads to jumping the gun, but doesn't at all account for the other massive franchises that missed Smash as well. Huge ties with Nintendo! This one always seems such a strong point until you point out that the franchise started on Sony consoles, and if this point mattered so much, what's Sephiroth, a character who is not heavily associated with Nintendo at all, doing in the game? Actually, Sephiroth's situation is kind of the polar opposite of the Hunter, which by the logic here, wouldn't that suggest huge ties with Nintendo is completely superfluous? Such moveset potential! I hate this argument because it's thrown around like candy for every character, even those that really don't have much potential with asterisk. Loads of fudging. It's not a meaningful point, it's a safety net point when the person starts running out of valid reasons. The fact that a character like Geno, who has only 11 moves total in his home game, over half of which are just some kind of projectile, got hyped for this highlights just how superfluous this point really is. I probably could think of others, but you get the idea. The character suddenly goes from brought up once in a while to he's coming status based off the above points being blown out of proportion without people actually taking a step back and considering, well, what reason might they not get in? What other kind of competition does this character have? And therein lies the problem with Smash expectations. People are terrible at second-guessing Smash characters, yet they always think they have cracked the code or something to that effect. Remember how people were certain Shadow would be an Echo for Sonic? Yeah, that didn't turn out well, did it? If you need more proof, let's look at Terry Bogard. Almost no one was predicting him, and he was barely talked about before the SNK leak. It's not because Terry was a bad choice, far from it, but rather the Smash echo chamber and groupthink mindset just doesn't allow for people to think outside the box, instead honing on a handful of big talked about characters. If people stopped with the he's coming mindset and stopped using foul reasoning, then maybe the disappointment factor would be way lower. Also, a lot of people suffer from confirmation bias, ergo they just assume the character is definitely getting in, and thus anything they see can be viewed as a hint towards them coming or proof towards it. If you need an example, the Geno fanbase comes to mind. Reminder, I only used the Hunter since he was the most recent casualty of someone who a non-insignificant number of people were insisting would absolutely come and recently was proven not, thereby making the situation comparable, but not identical, to Crash's. Yep, quite the comment, I must say. And I don't know how, at least maybe from my point of view, I don't know how there aren't exactly any valid points here, because I'm pretty sure this sounds about as valid as you can get here. And it's something I've basically been chewing out. I've been chewing out a lot of people for this because they just assume this character is in. And jokes aside, I actually can't. I really can't stand these kind of people who just think they're so full of themselves to think that any character is like a lock or a shoe-in or whatever, especially when it's based on a personal bias. Now, I don't know if I know Crash is on a lot of people's wants list, but it's I've never been able to tell if how many of these people actually really wanted Crash, or they just lean towards him like sycophants. And sycophants pretty much define who are called yes men, meaning they'll just go with it, and then their own bias doesn't really apply here. I've never been able to tell how many people actually genuinely wanted Crash or just go along with it because, being one of the most talked about. And as we probably know, several of these most talked about Smash characters, or characters that could be in Smash, they've hardly gotten in. Like, almost none of them have. For the record, I can only think of, like, Banjo-Kazooie and Steve. And as for the hero from Dragon Quest, this being because, he was not only, the reason the hero suddenly got talked about a lot was because, all the leaks that existed before he was finally revealed at E3 2019. Our next comment here is Meeple Article responding to another user who said as follows: honestly, I hope Crash gets in, but Ultimate has kinda dropped the ball a little with DLC characters, so he may have missed his chance. No, Crash, Chun-Li, or Gen 8 Pokemon are really glaring omissions that are like V8 slapped to head obvious. And here's what Meeple Article had to say. No, they're only glaring omissions to you. Chun-Li is not in any way someone who has to be in. This isn't a Capcom crossover where, yes, she is basically in all of them. She's not on Ryu's level and isn't an easy echo like Ken. It is odd that she wasn't an assist trophy, I won't deny, but going glaring omission when there's a lot of characters you can say that about is really kind of tunnel visioned. No Gen 8 Pokemon makes sense, none of them were really that popular or breakout, and just because Sword Shield sold a crap ton doesn't mean the Pokemon themselves were popular. And again, the mentality you use for Crash here, along with the Gen 8 Pokemon and Chun-Li, is the exact mindset people are discussing when they say the Crash fans are annoying. There's a lot of big characters that won't get into Smash. It's impossible to appease everyone. That's why people who bring up laundry list of reasons why this character needs to be in, or something will get responded with, there's a limited number of spots and more characters exist to have a similar style list that can be made to fill those slots. It isn't a glaring omission, it's people's biases getting in the way. You don't have to be happy with every decision, but pretending they're missing obvious characters when no one is obvious, yeah. The only time I'd say a crossover really asterisked up on omitting a character was Marvel vs. Capcom 3, lacking any kind of Mega Man, and Nitsuma's excuse of no one really wanted any particular version was full of asterisk. When the X, let alone Mega Man, as a collective, was regularly top 3 in basically every major poll, and he was asked directly at things like conventions, people constantly heckling, "Where's Mega Man?" etc. Oh, but characters like Firebrand and Nemesis, who people barely talked about pre-release, and struggled to get top 10? Yep, they totally take priority over some iteration of Mega Man. And I say this as someone who likes the Gargoyles Quest Demon Crest games, so no, this isn't me hating on Firebrand. And as an edit, and speaking of Marvel, let's please not turn this into one of those cases where every Marvel character revealed equals "Where's Gambit and Venom?" like it was in Marvel vs. Capcom 3. No, the roster and options are huge, and the number of slots limited. Not everyone is getting in. That Mega Man case is a massive exception, and I shouldn't have to go into why. Your personal historic favorite is not guaranteed a spot. No one is. Sooner you get to realize this and people stop pretending they're missing obvious characters, sooner you will get to being more accepting of your characters not on your most wanted list. It's okay to really want characters, but recognize that your most wanted is no better than the next person, and that there's a very high likelihood your most wanted won't get in. And no, I'm not saying this as someone who got their most wanted in and is laughing at others. Some of my most wanted are dead in the water for one reason or another. Others have very small chances, and the rest are pretty much your typical, plausible, but let's wait and see. I am absolutely in the position of very high chance my most wanted won't get in. I honestly think that this couldn't be any more right. I've said before I don't have any particular most wanted either. And for reasons such as these, Smash is pretty much everyone's game, and most wanteds from individual people, they pretty much all have that high chance of not getting in because maybe Smash isn't for everyone. And what Meeple article says is absolutely right. You have to recognize that no person's most wanted is necessarily superior here. So to be honest, I've come across a couple of comments from other people, and maybe some certain other people who I wouldn't expect to say, "Oh, Smash is incomplete without so and so," and those kind of comments just really make me sad. I mean, the whole point of "everyone is here." Now, I thought that tagline was in because it brought back every fighter from all the previous Smash games and brought them together into one, and this was the number one goal, even if it was just for the base game. But so I come across comments that say, "Oh, without these few characters, it's really not Ultimate," or "Smash Ultimate is just incomplete." I mean, the honest truth is, I'm very sad to hear those comments. Now, the thing is, we know Masahiro Sakurai, Nintendo, and even Bandai Namco have all worked very hard on Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which is probably why the least we can do is just be accepting of what we have in it already, and dare I say it, be grateful that we are getting so much DLC. I mean, we easily could not have gotten the second Fighter's Pass at all. And I know Mr. Sakurai mentioned why he wanted to keep this record going for as long as possible. I mean, supposing there was another Smash game, it wouldn't be nearly as big as this one. And then another thing, he's doing this to honor his late friend Satoru Iwata. As we all know, this was the last assignment he ever got from Iwata before his tragic passing in 2015. Now, there's one more comment I'd like to go over that's also fascinating, and this is probably going to be the last one here. So, Meeple article responded to another person's comment. Now, part of this comment was from user It Is Chiubby Face something. Anyways, this post says, people freaking kept saying this with other characters like Banjo and King K. Rool. Face it, there will always be the last big one. Now, obviously, this last big one mainly seems to be referring to the characters Crash Bandicoot as well as Ryu Hayabusa. You know, Crash being the last rival to Mario and Sonic because the whole big gaming platforms, and Ryu Hayabusa, the last of the NES era. Now, I could easily make this argument about Frogger by simply, saying that he was the last real arcade classic character, saying he's the last one not to be in Smash. So, even I can just goof up or something like that. Yeah, I can admit that last big one. Though I don't know if people really see Frogger as anything big, but personally, one thing I do see about the Frogger series is that regardless of the games, I don't think Konami really changed the gameplay mechanics much. I mean, they did some things to make him to make it 3D and make it about puzzle solving and stuff, but the gameplay was pretty much the same. Anyways, Meeple article responded to this post saying, was going to respond to something else, but honestly, I think this sums up the Smash situation entirely. Once a major character gets in, the goalposts shift towards yet another character, and thus there will never be a last big one until literally every single video game character in existence is in Smash. This idea that Smash has glaring omissions is silly because it will always have glaring omissions. Randomly bringing up characters gets countered with other characters. There's only limited number of slots. Not everyone makes the cut, which leads to the mindset of X character stole Y character's slot, as if that one character was the only other person who could go in that slot. So dare I say it, but Meeple article is 100% right. This is summing up the Smash situation, and it's still going on, and even if the Smash Ultimate DLC comes and goes, it's probably still going to be going on because, I don't know, maybe there's going to be some people out there who still think more is coming, that, that's Sakurai's a troll, Sakurai's a liar, Nintendo trolls, Nintendo lies, all that stuff. And I like the way that Meeple article uses quotes, glaring omissions, and last big one. Because, as we know, this pretty much sums up what Masahiro Sakurai had to finally cave in and admit about the people that he's working to please. That he said the Smash fans will never be satisfied. And this was sometime after the revelation that all the Smash fighters from every Smash fighter in history would be joining Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So, kind of sad, really. Also, Meeple article saying this whole shift keeps on going until you get every single video game character in existence in Smash, which of course is an impossible feat, but he's right about this too. as this is something I've occasionally been saying in some of my YouTube comments, that yeah, you guys won't be satisfied until every single video game character in existence is in Smash. Not only is this an impossible feat, but you know the saying that if you try to please everyone, you end up pleasing no one? Well, there's only so much you can do with a video game, right? There's no way they're gonna get all these characters in just to satisfy a lab minority, just some fans who are heavily biased. I don't get it. But really, it's just impossible to get so many video game characters in. I mean, this isn't that kind of a crossover. I mean, it's been advertised as like this ginormous crossover, yes, but that doesn't mean get everything into Smash Ultimate. It doesn't mean that at all. And of course, a future Smash game after this, even if we got one of those, none of them they couldn't possibly live up to Ultimate because of all these characters. Mr. Sakurai's admitted that too. He probably wouldn't get another opportunity to bring everyone back in the same way as before. And so, above all else, this is probably one reason why maybe, just maybe, Smash Ultimate should just stop after Fires Past Volume 2. Maybe the whole series should stop too. I mean, this whole debate has pretty much turned into a debacle, and I think it really needs to end. The debate needs to end. I'm hoping more people besides me have just had enough. I mean, I understand what Sakurai's doing and why he wants to do it, and I respect him wishing to honor his late friend Satoru Iwata, but I do not believe Iwata would want this at Sakurai's expense. Meaning, we don't want a bunch of Smash fans jumping down his throat, not being satisfied with the DLC, all because a personal want isn't in it. Or just because one or two characters should have gotten in and saying, oh, Piranha Plant stole a spot. All that. So I'm not going to act like I know any more than anybody else. Of course I don't. That's why I haven't exactly lied. I just made some pretty bad guesses, and things have turned out to be a far cry from what I've been guessing at, or what I believed they were. But come on, guys, you can't just say that I know what's going on. I don't know who the last two characters are. So regardless of whether Super Smash Bros. Ultimate continues or not, I just think we need to be a lot more respectful here. And more what I mean by that is we need to be more appreciative towards Nintendo and Mr. Sakurai in particular. Because they've worked hard for us, they've delivered the content, and so far, and in just a few cases I've seen fans constantly complain, all because their own personal ones aren't in there. And, maybe, just maybe, some of these people just don't know what they want. I mean, these fake leaks and such have pretty much torn the Smash community apart. Torn them inside out, turned people against each other, made quite a few of us, or quite a lot of us, angry, aggressive, maybe even a little too passive. So, if this is the end of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and the end of the Smash Bros. Series, I think it'll be for the best. Because, one way or another, this debate that's turned into a debacle has got to come to an end.